Hello students for Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications. We're on the Chapter 3 Summary Practice Test. So let's move on. Get to the right slide. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Add the following by translating the verbal form to the decimal equivalent. So that means we translate this verbal form into a number and then we're going to total them all up. So we have 338 and 7/500ths. Okay, the word and tells me that's where my decimal is going to go. Okay, so 338, so 338 and 705 thousandths. Okay, so when I'm writing that, remember there's my tens, hundredths, thousandths. So it says 705. So the 5 has to go under the thousandths position. And also the THS tells me that that's the decimal portion after we get the, we find the decimal, the fractional portion, I should say. So the 705 thousandths, the 5 ends up being in the thousand spot, and I need number 705, so I can just fill that in. The 7 being in the 10 spot, the 0 being in the 100 spot, and the 5 being in the 1000 spot. Okay. All right, let's see here. 19 and 59 hundredths. Again, the and tells me where the decimal place is going to be. Right, so I have 19 and 59 hundredths. So I'm thinking about there's the 10, the hundredths, 59. So the 9 has to go in the 100 spot. The 5 will go in the 10 spot, 19 and 59. Okay. 5 and 4 thousandths. Again, where's the and? So I have 5 and the decimal, and it says 4 thousandths. All right, well, 4 thousandths, we have tens, hundredths, thousandths. So the 4 has to go in the 4,000 spot, and I just need to fill in the 2 zeros. Okay, so this one here is 75 hundredths. So it's hundredths. It's already telling me that the decimal place comes in the beginning. There is no whole number there. So 0 point and 75 hundredths. Again, here's the tens, here's the hundredths. So the 5 has to go in the 100th spot, 75. And our last one here, 403 and, okay, so we have 403 and 8 tenths. Well, our first spot is the 10th position, and we need to put the 8 in that spot. Okay, so we had, since we've converted them from verbal to decimal equivalents, now we have to add them all up. So let me rewrite them all here. So I have 338, 705. Remember, you have to keep the decimal places underneath each other. Position is important. 1959. 5 and 4 thousandths. 0.75 and 403.8. So now we add those all up. So 5 and 4 is 9. 9 and 5 is 14. Count my 1, that's 8. That's 28. Decimal place here, that's 2. That's 10, 24, 27. Count my 2. It's 5, 6, 7. So we end up with 767 and 849 thousandths as my answer. Okay. Remember, important to keep everything aligned correctly here. All right, so that you're not, one of the reasons why, if you're listening to me, especially like right here when I did this here, 28, I had 1 and 7 is 8. And when I scanned down, because I was scanning down vertically and all my numbers were aligned, what ran through my head was 7 and 8 is 15 and 5 is 20, and I already had an 8, so that's how I was able to quickly jump and say put an 8 and carry my 2 for 28. Alignment of digits is very important, and you definitely have to align your decimal points when you're working problems. Okay, number 2. Convert the following decimal fractions to decimals. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see which problems it was. I explained all of this way back in drill problems 311 to like 317. All right. So if you want to understand the concept behind it, go back and rewatch that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining it. But if I have 7/10, okay, then all I'm doing is I'm taking the 7, and since I have 1 0 for the tenths, this is where my decimal place goes, and that's my answer. Okay, go back and watch 311 at 317 in order to see why I did what I just did. And okay, for practice test number 3, this is going to be the same thinking, same problems. So I have 7, but in this case here, because I have 2 zeros for my hundredths, all right, I'm going to move 1, 2, put my decimal place there. So my answer is 0.07. That's it right there. Number 4, same thing. I have 7, and now I have 3 decimal places. I mean 3 zeros, so I have to move 3 decimal places. So that's 1, 2, 3. There's where my decimal goes. And so my answer is 0.007. Now, another hint that just popped into my head. Notice that this here is divided by 1,000, right? Notice that this is 10 hundredths. This is the thousandths position, okay? So if I'm dividing by 1,000, I should have my 7 in the thousandths position. If I go back to number 3, notice I'm dealing with hundredths, okay? So my, the 7 has to be in the hundredths position, all right? There's the 10, there's the hundredths position, all right? That's just, to be able to help you as one other little mnemonic, that device to help you make sure that you're correct. Okay. All right, number 5. Convert the following to proper fractions or mixed numbers. Do not reduce to the lowest terms. Okay, so let's see here. All right, we're looking at 9, right? And it's in the tenths position, right? So I just put it over 10. Right? And this goes back to what I was just talking about, for number 4. Here was thousandths, so the 7 would be in the thousandths. Well, for this problem, the 9 is in the tenths position, so it goes over 10. Right? 6.97. All right. Remember, the decimal, anything to the left is a whole number, anything to the right is a fraction of that number, of the next whole number. So if I were looking at this, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole things, and out of that 7th, I would have 97 hundredths of it, of that next whole, okay? So when I'm converting from a decimal into a whole number, into a fraction, a mixed number, I keep my whole number, the 6. And now I'm just going to concern myself with the 0.97, the fractional portion of it. And this again is in tens and this is in hundreds, so I'm talking about 97 hundredths, right? And so I just put one next to the other, and that's my answer, okay? Same thing, 0.685, okay? I have no whole number here, right? So all I'm going to have is just a fraction. And since I'm looking at the tens, hundredths, thousandths position, I have 685 over 1,000. My answer. Number 8. Convert the following fraction to decimal or mixed decimals and round to the nearest hundredth. So I have to be concerned that I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. Right? So if I have 2 over 7, right, that means I have 2 and I'm dividing by 7. So show my decimal place, and I have to round to the hundredth, so that means I have to take it out 3 places, because I want to know what my hundredth position is, but I have to look at my thousandths position in order to be able to determine what my hundredth is going to be if I'm rounding up or down. And so 7 into 20 goes 2 times, that's 14. Remainder of 6, bring down to 0. 7 times 8 is 56, and I have 40. 7 into 40 goes, what, 5, 6, 6 is 42, so 5 is 35, so that's 5 times. I don't need to do the rest of the math because I'm rounding, okay, to the nearest hundredth, so I have 0.2, the 8 is in the hundredths, I'm rounding to the hundredths, so I look at the hundredths and I look right, it's 5 or greater, so 5 or greater we round up, so I round up to 9, my answer is 0.29. All right, I'm going to stop there because we're in 11 minutes, and I'll be back in the next video for number 9.